The Subaru WRX STI is one of those cars that has achieved legendary status, not only in the world of rallying but also in the hearts of enthusiasts who crave raw performance, mechanical grip, and an emotional driving experience that feels connected, visceral, and alive. The story of the WRX STI begins decades ago when Subaru decided to use motorsport, especially rallying, as a platform to showcase their engineering capabilities. Unlike many carmakers who focused on Formula One or touring cars, Subaru's identity was built in the forests, on the gravel, and across the icy rally stages where endurance, reliability, and control mattered just as much as outright power. The WRX, short for World Rally Experimental, was developed as a high-performance version of the Impreza, and the STI badge stood for Subaru Technica International, the brand's motorsport and performance division that infused these cars with advanced engineering, specialized tuning, and a motorsport soul. What makes the Subaru WRX STI stand out from other performance sedans is its adherence to a recipe that prioritizes driving feel and rally-bred performance rather than just raw speed figures. Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system, coupled with turbocharged flat-4 engines, created a unique character where traction and balance came first. This car was built to attack corners, to claw its way through slippery terrain, and to deliver performance in conditions where many other high-performance cars struggled. When enthusiasts talk about the WRX STI, the first thing that comes to mind is rallying. The WRX STI became a legend thanks to the World Rally Championship, where it was driven to iconic victories by drivers like Colin McRae, Richard Burns, and Petter Solberg. These drivers showcased the car's capabilities on gravel, snow, and tarmac stages across the globe, giving the car not only credibility but also an emotional connection with fans. When Colin McRae flew through rally stages in the blue and gold 555 Subaru, complete with its huge wing and boxer rumble, it wasn't just motorsport, it was a spectacle that defined a generation of rallying. That sound, that sight, and that sense of unrelenting aggression embedded the WRX STI in car culture permanently. The Subaru WRX STI has gone through multiple generations, each one fine-tuned to deliver an even sharper and more exhilarating driving experience. The early models in the 1990s were raw, light, and uncompromising. They weren't built to be luxury machines but rally cars for the road. Enthusiasts loved them because they felt direct and connected. Manual gearboxes, hydraulic steering, turbo lag that built into a thrilling surge of boost, and that unmistakable boxer engine burble that made them stand out from any other four-cylinder car. As time went on, Subaru improved refinement while still holding on to the core essence of the STI. The large rear wing became a signature, the flared fenders emphasized its aggressive stance, and the driver-focused cockpit reinforced that this was not just another sports sedan, it was a performance tool designed for those who valued driving above everything else. One of the most celebrated aspects of the WRX STI is the engine. Subaru's use of the flat-4 turbocharged, boxer, engine gave the car not only a low center of gravity but also a distinctive character. The engine's thumping, offbeat sound became an audible signature that enthusiasts adored. The turbocharged nature of the engine meant power delivery had a dramatic flair, you'd feel the buildup of boost, then a surge of power that pinned you into your seat. The WRX STI was never about silky smooth power like a German sedan, it was about drama, excitement, and interaction. Subaru paired this engine with one of the best all-wheel drive systems in the industry, including driver-controlled center differentials and sophisticated torque distribution systems that allowed the car to put down its power effectively in nearly any condition. Whether you were on dry pavement, wet roads, snow, or gravel, the WRX STI inspired confidence. The WRX STI wasn't just fast in a straight line, it was about control in the corners. Its symmetrical all-wheel drive system distributed power evenly, and its chassis tuning favored agility and stability. Unlike front-wheel drive hot hatches that suffered from torque steer, or rear-wheel drive sports cars that could be tricky in slippery conditions, the WRX STI delivered a blend of grip and playfulness. Drivers could push the car hard into a corner, feel the grip, and also experience a slight rear-end rotation that made the car entertaining. This balance was what made it such a driver's car. It wasn't about lap records at the Nürburgring, it was about driving fun in the real world, in conditions where most performance cars would be out of their element. Over the years, the Subaru WRX STI built a community like few cars have. Owners became part of a culture that celebrated tuning, modifying, and personalizing their cars. The WRX STI was a tuner's dream. Its turbocharged engine responded well to modifications, its strong drivetrain could handle more power, and its rally heritage meant it was designed to take abuse. From aftermarket exhausts that amplified the boxer rumble to big turbo upgrades, COI lovers, and aggressive aero kits, the WRX STI became a canvas for enthusiasts. Car meets, rallycross events, time attack competitions, all of these became natural homes for the STI. It wasn't just a car, it was a lifestyle. What also makes the WRX STI fascinating is how it managed to balance being a performance machine with being practical. It had 4 doors, usable rear seats, and a trunk. It wasn't a stripped-out sports car, it was something you could daily drive. You could take your friends along, drive it in bad weather, and still enjoy its performance. This practicality is what made it appeal to a wider audience compared to two-seater sports cars. For many, it was the perfect combination of everyday usability and motorsport DNA. As time went on, Subaru refined the WRX STI with each generation. The GD chassis of the early 2000s brought sharper handling and a more aggressive stance. The later GR and VA models improved interior quality, added more technology, and brought higher power outputs. Yet, some enthusiasts felt that as regulations tightened and cars became heavier, some of the rawness of the early models was lost. The charm of the STI was always in its raw, mechanical, connected feel, and as cars modernized, balancing that purity with technology became more challenging. Still, Subaru remained committed to delivering a driver's car that stood apart from the crowd. The WRX STI also represents a certain philosophy that is increasingly rare in today's automotive world. As more performance cars shift toward electrification, dual-clutch transmissions, and digital experiences, the STI remained true to its roots. A manual transmission, a turbocharged engine, mechanical differentials, and analog driving feel. It was a car that demanded skill, involvement, and engagement from the driver. It wasn't the fastest car on paper, and it didn't have the luxury of a European sports sedan, but it offered something that numbers alone couldn't measure: connection and excitement. For many enthusiasts, driving a WRX STI was about the experience, not just the destination. The feel of the gearshift slotting into place, the turbo building boost, the all-wheel drive system clawing for grip, and the car pushing you to challenge your limits, all of these sensations combined into an unforgettable drive. The STI was a car that rewarded those who loved to drive for the sake of driving. Today, the Subaru WRX STI continues to hold a special place in the automotive landscape. Even as Subaru announced pauses or shifts in production due to emissions regulations and changing markets, the legend of the STI remains. Enthusiasts around the world continue to preserve, modify, and race these cars, ensuring that the nameplate lives on. Whether it's at a local car meet, a rallycross track, or simply on the street, the WRX STI represents passion, heritage, and the thrill of driving. The WRX STI is not just a car, it's a symbol of what happens when motorsport DNA is transferred to the road. It represents an era where cars were built for drivers, where the connection between machine and human was raw and unfiltered. For those who have experienced it, the WRX STI is unforgettable. It's not about being perfect, it's about being authentic, emotional, and exciting. In a world where cars are becoming increasingly digital and sanitized, the Subaru WRX STI stands as a reminder of what driving passion truly feels like. The Subaru WRX STI is more than just a car, it is a cultural icon. When you think about performance sedans that are affordable enough for enthusiasts but potent enough to challenge high-end sports cars, the STI always makes the list. Part of the magic comes from its ability to feel alive in your hands. The hydraulic steering in the earlier models gave direct road feedback, letting you sense grip levels and road textures in ways that many modern electric steering systems can't replicate. Even when Subaru transitioned to electric power steering in later models, the tuning was done with driver involvement in mind, and while some enthusiasts missed the older feel, the essence of control was preserved. Another element that separates the WRX STI from many of its rivals is the Subaru symmetrical all-wheel drive system. This wasn't a marketing gimmick but a deeply engineered system that gave the car an edge in diverse conditions. Unlike simple on-demand all-wheel drive systems that only engage the rear wheels when slip is detected, Subaru's system is always active, balancing power delivery between the front and rear axles. When combined with the driver-controlled center differential DCCD, that allowed drivers to adjust torque split depending on the driving environment, the STI offered a level of control normally reserved for rally cars. This mechanical connection gave enthusiasts confidence whether they were carving through mountain roads, navigating wet highways, or tackling snow-covered streets. The design of the WRX STI has also played a key role in its identity. The aggressive body kits, hood scoops, flared fenders, and, of course, the iconic rear wing are not just aesthetic features but functional components that enhance cooling, aerodynamics, and stability. The hood scoop, for instance, directs air into the top-mounted intercooler to cool the compressed intake air from the turbocharger, improving performance. The rear wing provides downforce at higher speeds, stabilizing the car, particularly in rallying conditions where high-speed stability is crucial. These design choices gave the WRX STI a look that was instantly recognizable, purposeful, aggressive, and performance-driven. When people saw a WRX STI on the street, they knew it wasn't just another sedan. It was a statement. The sound of the boxer engine rumble with unequal-length headers became a kind of calling card for enthusiasts. This sound is so iconic that even people who aren't car enthusiasts often recognize it. It's deep, throaty, and unique, setting the car apart from the typical inline-four sounds of its competitors. Inside, the WRX STI was always built with a driver-first mentality. While it may not have matched luxury brands in terms of materials, what it offered was purposeful design. Bucket seats held the driver and passengers in place during aggressive cornering, the steering wheel was thick and tactile, the shifter was mechanical and precise, and gauges were clear and informative. Later models added more modern amenities like touchscreen infotainment, premium audio, and driver assistance systems, but the core identity remained about giving the driver control and focus. A huge part of the WRX STI story is the rivalry it had with other performance icons. Chief among them was the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution. For years, these two cars went head-to-head in both the World Rally Championship and on the streets. The Evo and the STI represented two different approaches to the same problem: how to build a high-performance, turbocharged, all-wheel drive sedan. Fans of each car would argue passionately about which one was better. The Evo often had sharper handling and more advanced active differentials, while the STI had bulletproof reliability, a distinct sound, and a loyal following. This rivalry pushed both companies to keep innovating and improving, giving enthusiasts some of the best performance sedans of their era. But the WRX STI's story is also about accessibility. While exotic sports cars remained dreams for most, the STI was within reach of many enthusiasts. It gave ordinary drivers a taste of motorsport technology in a package that was usable every day. You could drive it to work during the week, then take it to a rallycross event on the weekend. It was versatile, practical, and thrilling. The modifications seen around the STI also deserves attention. Unlike some performance cars that are difficult or costly to upgrade, the STI was a tuner's playground. From EQ tunes that unlocked more boost, to aftermarket turbos, larger intercoolers, upgraded exhausts, and suspension kits, there were endless possibilities to personalize and enhance the car. Many owners took their cars from the factory 300 horsepower range to well over 400 or even 500 horsepower with the right modifications. The STI's robust drivetrain could handle these upgrades with relative ease, making it a favorite in the tuning community. Car culture thrives on cars that are both fun to drive stock and fun to modify, and the WRX STI fit perfectly into that mold. Another aspect that made the STI so beloved is its presence in popular culture. Video games like Gran Turismo, Need for Speed, and Dirt prominently featured the car, allowing younger audiences to experience it virtually before they could drive one in real life. Movies like Fast and Furious also gave it screen presence, further cementing its cool factor. The sight of a Rally-Bred Subaru sliding sideways through gravel or taking on city streets with its wing towering in the rear became part of automotive folklore. Of course, no discussion of the WRX STI is complete without diving into its motorsport heritage. Subaru entered the World Rally Championship in the late 1980s and became a powerhouse in the 1990s. The Impreza WRX STI was the car that delivered 3 consecutive manufacturers' titles from 1995 to 1997 and multiple driver championships. These victories not only elevated Subaru's global reputation but also created heroes out of drivers like Colin McRae. His aggressive, all-or-nothing driving style perfectly matched the character of the car, creating an image of fearless speed and determination. Fans adored him, and by extension, adored the STI. Rallying isn't just about speed, it's about endurance, control, and resilience, and the STI embodied those qualities. The lessons learned from rallying directly influenced the road cars. Subaru engineers developed suspension setups, drivetrain technologies, and durability improvements through rallying, which then trickled down into production STIs. This direct motorsport-to-road connection gave the STI a level of credibility that marketing alone could never achieve. Owners knew their cars shared DNA with championship-winning machines, and that authenticity made it even more desirable. Even as rallying evolved and Subaru eventually withdrew from the World Rally Championship, the legacy of the STI remained. Fans continued to associate the car with rally heritage, and Subaru leaned into this identity in its marketing and engineering. The STI remained one of the last true rally-inspired cars available for everyday drivers. But times began to change. Emissions regulations tightened, safety standards evolved, and consumer preferences shifted toward SUVs and crossovers. Performance sedans like the WRX STI faced challenges as their market shrank. Subaru adapted by introducing a new WRX separate from the Impreza lineup, giving it its own identity. The STI version remained the pinnacle, carrying forward the brand's performance flag. Despite these challenges, the WRX STI kept its loyal fanbase. Enthusiasts appreciated that Subaru didn't water down the formula. While other brands moved toward automatic-only performance cars, Subaru kept the manual alive in the STI. This decision was celebrated by purists who valued the connection that only a manual gearbox can deliver. The act of rowing your own gears, matching revs, and feeling the clutch bite point was essential to the driving experience, and Subaru respected that. The STI's reputation also came from its toughness. These cars could handle abuse that would break lesser machines. Rally drivers punished them on rough terrain, tuners pushed them to insane power levels, and yet they continued to perform. While no car is indestructible, the WRX STI earned a reputation for resilience, making it even more appealing to enthusiasts who wanted a car they could truly drive hard. Thank you.